Explaining entertainment, keeping you ahead of the culture curve. That is what we do each and every day here on the WDW Pro channel. Sometimes that means that we have long format content. Sometimes it's 20 to 30 minutes, and sometimes it is short and sweet, as I suspect this video will be. Hope everybody is having a wonderful day today. Hope that you are having a meaningful time. If you like content like what we're going to provide today, make sure to hit the like button, share, subscribe, and we covet your comments. Don't forget that you can stick it to the algorithms when you click it. We're talking about that notification bell. All right, today we are diving into the latest thing we've got out of the SEC filing regarding the Walt Disney Company. Again, this is a government document, and we're going to be reading straight from it, taking a look at how Disney is wanting to keep it quiet. That is their relationship with China, and we'll explain exactly why. Here's what we've got. This is regarding the proposal to report on operations related to China. The National Legal and Policy Center has notified the company that they have interest to present the following proposal for consideration at the annual meeting. This is talking about the shareholder meeting coming up shortly for Disney in about 1 month. Here is the proposed item which will be voted on. Shareholders request that beginning in 2023, the Walt Disney Company report annually to shareholders on the nature and extent to which corporate operations depend on and are vulnerable to Communist China, which is a serial human rights violator, a geopolitical threat, and an adversary to the United States. The report should exclude confidential business information, but provide shareholders with a sense of the company's reliance in activities conducted within and under control of the Communist Chinese government. Now, this comes on the heels of quite a few revelations regarding China. Those things are sort of out of the orbit that we like to stay in on this channel, but needless to say, there are findings coming out that implicate China in some things that are dramatically bad. And Disney is particularly at risk with China because they have invested multi-billion-dollar capital assets, physical assets in the country. We're talking about Shanghai Disney, and we're talking about Hong Kong Disneyland. All right, let's continue on. Supporting statement. American companies doing business in Communist China in a controversial public policy issue. C, doing business in China is difficult. A clash over human rights is making it harder, from April 2nd, 2021. That's a CNN article. The Walt Disney Company does business in and relies on raw materials, finished products, broadcast, entertainment venues, theme parks, labor, and or services from entities in China. China is an established serial violator of human and political rights. China is also a hostile adversary of the United States for many reasons, including it intends to displace the U.S. as a global superpower. The U.S. has committed to defend Taiwan, and we know that China doesn't like that and may take action there. By the way, that's the biggest risk to Disney because that would put them in a precarious situation where they would probably have to pick a side. And it's almost certain they would have to pick the U.S. side, although given the leadership at Disney, maybe not. But then if that were to occur, it would be deadly serious because even though we would mostly be paying attention to the loss of human life and the tragedy of whatever would occur and the war that would likely spawn from an invasion of Taiwan, but also on a much lesser note, but significant for Disney, they would potentially lose their Disney theme parks should they say anything negative whatsoever about China. U.S.-China relations are tense over a number of issues, including China's military expansion, egregious human rights violations, actions related to what we've been through, intellectual property theft, relentless espionage, and it continues on, including having already overtaken Hong Kong. China has also indicated that it would use the industrial capabilities of strategic purposes against adversaries. All right, so here's the thing about this. I can see why shareholders would want to know where the risks are, where the biggest dangers are to the company and to their investments should things go south with China, beyond what they already have. I mean, this is already significant. Disney has struggled to get their movies into the box office there despite massive investments. This has changed a little bit now that Iger's back, and also now that the Chairman of the board is the CEO of Nike, Nike having very cozy relations with China as well, and some potential misconduct there, although that may just be moral or ethical. We're not making any sort of proclamations of misdeeds in a legal sense, who knows. But it's fair to say that everything over there is just unpleasant. And I mean that as a euphemism for much worse. So I can see why shareholders would want that. I can see why this would be up for vote. Let's see what Disney has to say back. This is the recommendation from the board of directors for Disney. The board recommends that you, the shareholder, vote against this proposal. Here are the reasons they provide. The requested report requiring the company to disclose the nature and extent to which its corporate operations involve or depend on one particular country would not provide additional value to the company's shareholders. I disagree with that, but we'll get into this more in just a moment. The company is already subject to and compliant with comprehensive and ongoing business-related reporting requirements that require it to inform its shareholders about its international operations to the extent such operations are material. In addition, the company is deeply committed to operating in an ethical manner that respects human rights, and such considerations are included in its business decisions, and the company has established policies and reporting structures to support this goal. All right. This is going to be a little bit less dramatic of a conclusion than I think many would anticipate, but I can see exactly why the company is taking this position, and it makes total sense from the company's standpoint. From the company's standpoint, why would they want to assume additional regulation coming from within their own company, from their own shareholders? No company wants to take on additional burdens. No company wants to do that. And probably every company on earth would try to prevent themselves from having to report on their duties beyond what is required of them in all sorts of countries. So the other issue here, too, is perhaps Disney looks at this and says, we don't want to take on this burden with other places we operate in the world, although China is by far and away the biggest issue that Disney has. So I can see both sides of this. From a purely financial standpoint, it does not do the company and its leadership any good to take on this additional burden. From the shareholder standpoint, does this provide more information that's pertinent? Yes, but perhaps not as much as one might anticipate. However, here's the bigger point of all this. Because Disney has become so dependent upon China, and because Disney have put themselves in a position where they have much to fear should they make China angry, Disney has opened themselves up to significant political criticism going forward. And that's not including the fact that they have politicized the company at large. And we just saw that yesterday with the DeSantis situation in Florida. But the problem for Disney is that this will be used against them. And so you've got one group of shareholders. They want transparency in regards to China up above and beyond what the law requires and what the company currently is required to do. And you have Disney saying, no, we don't want to do that. Again, I can see both sides of this, but I can definitely tell you that when it comes to the political side, when it comes to the public opinion side, when it comes to the optics side, this is a black eye for Disney, and this is a continuing series of unforced errors and damages that Disney has taken on by partnering up with the Chinese Communist Party. It's something that has not turned out well for them. I get that maybe 10 years ago that everybody thought that they could influence China to be more moderate. That is no longer the case. And whether or not people understood that at the time, tying themselves to the regime that we see over there now, a regime that we're finding out from even our own federal agencies that country was likely involved in a large amount of suffering spread all throughout the world. Well, that's not a place that companies want to be, and Disney is definitely there. They own huge resorts. It's not as simple as other countries where they can just say, we're going to stop doing business in China. Disney doesn't really have that option, at least not easily. All right, that is our story for today. If you like knowing this inside baseball kind of stuff when it comes to entertainment, when it comes to Disney, then click like, share, subscribe, notification bell. It's your friend. Click it and stick it to the algorithms. And we covet your comments. Please leave one before you leave. I'm actually going to read it. That's what we do here. We actually care about you. We care about your dialogue. We care about your thoughts. You really do matter. And with that, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.